Hey, welcome to the first episode of the podcast. This is a brand new thing that we are starting. A few months ago, I started doing a meetup of local video pals I have here, and someone threw out the name Video Pals, and we stuck with it. And so now we call it the Video Pals Meetup. And I actually decided I wanted to start a podcast. And so I'm just going to steal the name and call it the Video Pals Podcast because this is for video pals, right? So if you're a video production professional or if you would like to be one, this podcast is for you. And what we'll be doing is I'll be dropping an episode every week, and I will either be doing a project breakdown, which is what we're going to do today, or I'll do a chatting episode either with myself solo or with me and Mike. And then we'll also be having interviews with other video pros that we know, and maybe eventually some we don't know, maybe eventually really famous people. But, come on, stop, chill out. We're just taking it one step at a time right now. Not going to plan episode 999 today. So anyway, that's the idea, is we're trying to talk and bring some value to the world of video production, to talk about things that are fun and interesting. Everyone likes to see behind the scenes, which is what I'll be digging deep into today. Everyone likes to know how a project came together, what went into it, and what someone's process is. So that's the idea. We're just going to pull back the curtain, say, come on in, let me show you all my secrets, because I guess I don't have any, because you can learn everything on YouTube, so there are no secrets, right? Anyway, blah, 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 blah. This is a show. It's a podcast for video pros. So if that's you, stay tuned and check it out. What I have for you guys today is a project breakdown for a project we did for a hospital. And so we're going to just take a look at what went into this project. We'll take a look at the behind the scenes. We'll pull up, and check out some of the stuff of us, filming on set, what it looked like and kind of what went into things, as well as pulling up some like 360 cam and looking at like some setups and this and that and whatever. So anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So let me just play a tiny bit of this in case you guys have not seen this video that we dropped on our channel. Everything is translated to Spanish with subtitles for this project.
Hello,
And this is basically a welcome video. It's a video tour for the maternity center at Sierra View Hospital. And so we have a collection of interviews, we have drone shots, we have shots of the facility, a little bit of stock video, but mostly video we shot. We shot that one.
We are proud of our
and so you can kind of see, I just kind of skip through here. A lot of interviews. We have a lot of different people. We got some scenes. So lots of stuff. And everything is direct to camera because that's the style for this particular video. It's supposed to be, a welcome video to the people who are coming in.
Also provide care
So
at all hours.
yeah, this is just kind of a quick overview of this project.
And on
Anyway, so there's the video. So what goes into creating a video like this? If you have not created the video like this, this is kind of the flyover. So we'll go over a lot of things. So here's the schedule. Wednesday and Thursday, it was a 2-day shoot. We had pre-production walkthroughs, which we did, and we had some scripts and shot lists that we put together for the project. We had lighting diagrams that we did for the different scenes, and obviously the behind the scenes, and then the finished video. So where do we start with the project? We start with the boring stuff. Boring for some people. I say boring just because it's not, filming on set, editing, those are the things most people think of as exciting. So pre-production, that is where this starts. So we scout all the locations. We, have some basic ideas of what content might go into the script. We take that content, we look at the different locations, and we figure things out like, oh, the script needs to say push, button 4 in the east elevator. Because as we walk through and kind of understand what this tour might entail in real life, we know what we need to see. Like, oh, the windows hadn't been washed, so shoot from the right side, don't see the dirty windows. Like all these little things that we have to figure out as we go to make a project. So we go through and we look at all these different things, all the different scenes. We figure out kind of what's going to happen where. We had some screen grabs from other videos that we had watched that we liked. And then we kind of talked about the flow for each room. So like this was kind of at the end of all of this. Let me actually jump real quick to some of these walkthrough photos. So we had all these different places and all these different scenes. So what I did is I went with the 360 cam and took the 360 cam through and did a walkthrough so we can see all the different areas, all the different scenes. Like you can see the quality is kind of garbagey. That's fine. The purpose of the 360 camera is to see this, to see everything and to catch those things that you forgot to look at on the day, because that's how it's always going to go. So it's like we go in, you see like, okay, so I didn't know this sign was important until later in the walkthrough. But because I used the 360 cam, I was able to go back to that 360 footage and say, okay, up here, this east elevator, this is important. Get this shot. Make sure it makes the cut into our, final video. And then it's like, okay, now here we are in the elevator. Okay, look at these elevators. These elevators are small. Like, and again, here's the button we're supposed to hit. I didn't know that. It's just like, as we're talking, these things come out. But shooting that 360 cam as your walkthrough camera just lets you go back and fix and catch all those little things that you didn't catch before. This is like, oh, how small is this elevator? It's small. So know that for packing equipment in and out. And then this is like, look at the lighting in the elevator. What are we going to do about that? Okay. And then as we just go through all the different areas, I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but you kind of get the picture. We're going through, we're seeing this, and as we go through and see different areas and figure out where different scenes might need to take place, and where are we going to film all the interviews, right? Because that's the other thing you got to figure out. Where are we going to film all these interviews? And so, and even things like this, which is like, okay, we can see lighting reference. What does that light look like on us just with what's in the room? Like, okay, we got these really pingy top light. I mean, my head is shiny anyway, but you got these top lights pinging, you got the windows, and they're super blue because they're tinted. So all these things that we got to know and be aware of. We got hallways. So like, okay, now we come to this next room. Here's the sign for the room, so we know which room we're in. And then let's come in this room and look at this. And I'll just kind of pop through a few of these things. So recognize like, okay, there's the sign. Here's how we get to here. Here's what this looks like. Wow, this is dark. We're definitely gonna have to turn some lights on. When we come in here to film, okay, this is what this room looks like. Okay, here is the labor room. It's over here. And this is the view out the window. Look out the window on your scout. What's out the window? Where's the sun? All these things, right? Another thing, where are the plugs in the room? Because, for example, if you want to film over here, but the only plugs are over here, if I'm using my mouse because it's right here, I want to film right over here, but these are the only plugs, and I want a wide shot, and I want to see feet. Well, you can't plug in there if you see feet. So just know all those things about every space that you want to film, kind of look both ways. And again, here's that 360, which just kind of tells you here's the space. So like I walk in the space and figured out we'll probably want to place people over here by the window. We've got the window. We know that we're going to see out the window. We know the sun is over there. The sky is going to be bright. So we're going to want to make sure we have bright light so we can see out the window and see the person. All these little details. Like, oh, we want to make sure we catch these, these particular doors. That was important. Okay, let's go in the postpartum room. These scouts are invaluable because you can see the lighting, you can see the rooms, and you can see like, ooh, this is going to be tight if we come in here. Oh, is there a different room we can use? In this case, we couldn't scout the room we were going to actually film in because someone was in it, because this is a hospital, right? And so the day I came for the scout, somebody was in the room we were going to film in. So like, okay, well, what other rooms can we look at? Okay, it's going to be similar to this room, but it's a little bigger. Great. Again, look out the window. What's out there? What are you going to see? That way we know as we're planning what things might we see out these windows. Couldn't go in the NICU because there were babies in there and we couldn't go in there. So look, hey, look, that's where the NICU is. Great. That's all we got for our scout. We checked out some other potential locations. We checked out some exterior scenes, the building that we were going to go into and film. So we checked that out. So anyway, all these things that we check out in the walkthrough, which we now have the stills for, and we're able to kind of come back through and use these stills. To kind of help with our storyboarding and our lighting diagrams. So if you notice over here, these lighting diagrams we did, where do those images come from? They came from the walkthrough. Where I kind of figured out, okay, we're going to want to see these sorts of frames. We're going to want to be in these sorts of places. This is where we're going to place cameras, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then some notes from this walkthrough, like, okay, flow for each room, because there's so much we have to do. We have 2 days. We got to capture all this content. We have interviews. We have B-roll. We have all this. So it's like, okay, make sure the hallway lights are on. Make sure everything is good and well dressed. Make sure if we're putting any of our lights in there that they're hidden. Make sure we do the gimbal. Make sure we have our virtual tour shots, entering, looking around. Make sure we set up, for the interview, this is the checklist, right? Set everything up, do the interview with the teleprompter, make sure we have our wireless monitor set up for client, make sure, if we're going to do a second angle, break down, move out the gear, go to the next room. So because there was a constant movement, we wanted to make sure we knew all these logistics. And we kind of thought about which lenses are we going to use for these things too. Okay, A-cam, we're going to do FX6. We're going to put the Sigma 35 with teleprompter, lav mic, tripod, that whole bit. Okay, client monitor is going to be on the cart from the FX6. Then our C-cam is going to be the FX30 with the Sigma 18 to 35. And then we're going to have all the different things are in here, right? So you can just see all the different things. What's the rim light? What's the key light? What's the sounds? All these things, right? B-cam is going to be FX3. It's going to be on the gimbal. We're going to be on the 14, or we're going to be on the Tamron 2875. We're going to use these things for lights, etc. So this is what we need for the interview. This is what we need for the B-roll. So we're able to prepare and plan ahead. We have our packing list. Here's all the things we're going to bring. This is back when we were bringing our other camera cart, which we now have a new cart. Better. Anyway, and then just, all the random things. So these are all kinds of things that are helpful to do in a walkthrough so you understand a project and what goes into it, what you need. And you've seen the locations. So now you've seen all of those places. Okay. So let's see what's interesting, right? Script is not interesting. Back to that. So let's look at the schedule. Another boring thing, right? Let's actually look at lighting diagrams, right? Because that's way more interesting. Everyone's like, can I see a lighting diagram? Okay, so we have the schedule on here. Wednesday at 9:15, then Wednesday at 7:45. So this one is not in schedule order. This is just like, this is in room order. Actually, I don't even know if this is in any kind of order, to be honest. I don't even remember how we put this in terms of order, but every one of these is a thing. So we just grab like a storyboard template and pop this in here, so that we can make this easy for us to see. So if we just look at one of these setups, okay, we're going to go in this room. So this is where we think through, right? We use that walkthrough to think about how we're going to do things. Okay, we're going to kill the house lights. We are going to have a tube light for a hair light. We're going to have a bounce right here. A-cam's here, B-cam's here, person is standing here. We're going to put the 720 with a softbox here. Then we've got, sound and this and that and whatever. I come over to here. Okay, how are we going to place things? This is the welcome interview. We're going to hold traffic during takes, elevator traffic. And this is Donna. We only have 30 minutes with her. So this was the CEO. And so we knew, okay, we got to come in here, get this set up, get it all ready. She's going to walk in, say her piece, and she's going to get out because she's CEO and she's busy. So these are the considerations we have to have. So like we went through and we planned out how we're going to do it. We're going to place things here and this and that and whatever. And sometimes you adjust a little bit. Like if you look at the final, this angle indicates we're kind of like looking at these windows. We ended up looking in this space because it ended up working better. So I were to pull up again. So that's this, right? So we ended up looking this way, but we used basically the same scheme of lighting, but we just used a different angle than the one we had initially planned. But it worked well, and it accomplished what we needed to accomplish. And by doing this plan, we knew key light's going to be here, bounce, over here, tube lights this way. So we ended up spinning that whole thing and sticking it like over here instead of over here. But hey, we were there that much closer for having the plan. Nurse's station, we know, we're going to do this. And then we come in here, and in the triage room, we're going to set it up like this. In this room for B-roll, we're going to put up the 720D with the lantern. So it's just a one big soft China ball globe, the aperture lantern. And then in here, we're going to do a portable 60 light, battery powered with a little mini softbox. So just so we have enough light to put in here. Then we come over to here, and we know that in labor and delivery, we're going to set up this with the tube light. We're going to set this. So knowing all these setups helps us go so much faster. Postpartum room. This is not the room we filmed in, but we had to make a plan somewhere. And so we knew we were going to do something like this. It ended up being like a complete flip of that real world. And then here we knew we were going to place her, somewhere over here with all this stuff for B-roll. For the sorry, this is the class education B-roll, and that's basically exactly what we did. And then we had this little tiny consult room, and we figured we would do a push in, and they'd be sitting over here. We'd kill the house lights, bounce light here, and that's more or less what we did. Then we have our interview somewhere like this with all this stuff in the background. Is basically what we did. So let's look at some behind the scenes photos. We just pop back to the beginning. So this is B-roll because we got the gimbal out. So that's B-roll. Here we're setting up with for the CEO, Donna here. On this shoot, instead of doing a fill bounce, we actually ended up doing a very, very low powered fill light. And that worked for us on this shoot. We were going less dramatic and contrasty. So that, yeah, so we got the Nanlite 720 daylight version with a 48-inch parabolic softbox from Glow. That works really well. FX6 with all the gizmos, iPad teleprompter, pad prompter, and yeah, and this is just a Godox 60-watt light running off battery in this little tiny pop-up softbox. And then we've got yeah, the FX6 here, and then FX30 here. We had the Sigma Art 35 for the A cam because we wanted a really present kind of feel, and then the 50 for the close-ups, which worked good for this shoot. You can see Mike holding his phone. He's got his little monitor right there because we live broadcast to our phones as well as our other external monitors. Yeah, so there's a review of that. And then we've got the Nanlite Pavo tubes up here. And the video, basically, but with a glinting floor. So thanks, Augie, for catching that. Yeah, so as far as crew on this, we had me, Mike, and Augie, which are, main crew for us. Okay, here's our Husky cart, which we used to roll with, those tiny little wheels. And this cart, our new cart is so much bigger and better and nicer, and we love it. So we have, I had screwed down a 501 plate receiver. So I screwed that down on top of this cart so we could mount the camera directly to the cart, which is great, other than it vibrates the heck out of everything because of the wheels. But for an inside shoot like this, it worked. And then we had a little DIY client monitor that we had made over here. It's one of those like laptop extension screens that are like $150. It's like a little 15-inch screen. It runs off of USB power. You just plug HDMI USB. It's like super simple and easy. It's great inside. It's not bright outside because it's a computer monitor. But we put a vase amount on there and did all this, gizmos, whatever. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, just let me know. We can give you a breakdown on it. And then we had the gimbal rigged up and a bunch of junk in the bottom of the cart. There's me and Augie pushing our carts. We also had the second cart, which is our rock and roller, loaded down with all the lighting and grip gear for company moves between locations. You can see I had a million clipboards because I'm just that guy. Here we are, rolling the carts again, rolling the carts, waiting for the elevators. Yeah, so you can see all the grip gears in here, lighting gear. So when we had to move from setup to setup or location to location, we had a lot more junk to break down. The camera cart's not so bad, but this a lot. Oh yeah, so the opening shot that you see in the video is just a nice gimbal move, walking, doing the thing. That's how it goes when we need kinds of shots. Anyway, all seen a gimbal before. And there's our carts, and there's the team, all hanging out and having a good time. I didn't bribe any of them to take that picture. And then this is just another interview rolling in one of the rooms. So we've got the tube, we've got the softbox, we've got the little tiny fill, because we were going for like that flatter look. Somewhere, I don't have it. I think it was on Mike's phone, and I don't think he ever airdropped it to me. We tried to do one of these like gimbal handoff shots where you like go across the bed, and it didn't work. we tried to do the hand off the gimbal ring and walk and do this long shot that went from like the corner of the room over the bed and through. It was way too long to ever make the cut. It's one of these things that you look back and you're like, why were we trying to get that shot? It's like, we're never going to use a 10, 15-second cut in the final video. But anyway, it was entertaining to do and to film ourselves, try to do it and laugh at the video of ourselves trying to do it and look how horrible the gimbal handoff was. Because Mike and Augie both had two sides and they tried to hand it to me and I'm like, try. And then we had fun cramming in this tiny bathroom to get some shots of the shower to show like, hey, there's a shower in the room. And the only way to do that was I'm literally on a 14 millimeter lens crammed against the wall over the toilet trying to get these. And all I could do is this little chin move like that. Anyway, so that was fun. We had a great time. Just to flip through some other behind the scenes. This was one of our setups. Still setting up, it looks like. Yeah, still setting up. Mike's setting the camera. So we've got the tube armed out. We got all sandbag to help hold that down. And boy, we were moving this 360 cam all over the place. Oh yeah, and then we came and did B-roll. And then we did another interview in the same room. We just turned and got a different corner. You can kind of see the perspective of what we were doing there. We had the teleprompter to roll all the words through. And we basically just killed the room lights. We had the window coming out. We move on to the next scene, setting up for the CEO. So that was kind of what that was like, working there on that scene. Then we had to break it all down. We had to move to the next location. And for the next location, we had the aperture lantern. Oh, yes, and we had this piece coming in and out of the elevator. Well, that went really fast. Let's come back to that. Yeah, so we had this ridiculous scene where Augie had to Hollywood this battery-powered 60-watt light as Mike was gimbaling to kind of just get the light where it needed to be. And I'm pushing the cart with a monitor on it with client, standing next to me. And we're just like rolling down the hallway, following them, doing this scene back and forth, through all this stuff. So that was fun. And then we roll. Oh, yes, we come over to the nurse's station and we got to do some more stuff. Then we got the next thing. So the time lapse makes it look like we're super efficient. Then we got to get all these shots through the lobby here. There's a lot of moving on this. There's a lot of moving on this shoot. So we had to move a lot and quickly. And we look at the side of the angles. Yeah, so you can see we got a lot of bright sun coming in there. There's like, there we go. And then I love how the 360 kind of like, oh yeah, we had all these scenes of like a group of people being like, we love our job or whatever it was they were saying. Thank you. That was the word. Thank you. We're all having so much fun. And so we're just, throwing the aperture lantern in here just to kind of add some light to the scene. This is, let's see the final in here. Oh, and then we had some other shots. But yes, this was this. So if you're watching the final video, seen a lot of these setups. Scene at the end where everyone's like, oh, thank you. Thank you. So that's like what we're filming right there. So yeah, like that's kind of what's going on in there. And you can see cool little monitor, which, is helpful. Not the brightest thing in the world, but it totally works, does the job, which is what we need. And this is what's cool about having your behind the scenes as a 360 cam, because you're like, oh no, the camera got put up against the wall. Well, we can change that. You can see, oh, we're over here and we're setting up the next scene. We're going to put all these pieces of gear in and see what, oh yes, this was NICU. So we're in the NICU. way over there. Oh yeah, this was just gear storage. Yeah, and then outside, we had to do some stuff. Yep, here's more just me gimbal, I think. Yeah, that's all that. And the client chatting with us about things. Mike's got the wireless monitor so we can see on the there. Seeing together up all of our stuff and how long it takes to set up because there's a lot of stuff. So, I don't know, tiny planets are fun. I enjoy watching. So, yeah, there's always so much that goes into a project like this. I mean, they're relatively simple, but there's just a lot of stuff. You can see here we are going to break all this down. We pull up the marks, and then we've got the next, thing over here. Nothing like your UPS going off in the middle of your recording so that you have to stop everything, shut your computer down, and put it back up. Whatever. Why am I crying? At least I remember to turn the fan off so my hair is not blowing in the wind. Anyway, let's get back. So we were in the middle of behind the scenes there. I want to jump over to the schedule real quick because I realized this video is getting a little long. So let's look at the schedule and just kind of break down what's happening. Basically, everything you just saw was day one, with the exception of, jump over to here. So day one ended, in these rooms. Day two was starting in this, in this room here, right? So as soon as we hit this room, this is the first shoot of day two. But everything before that was day one. So like I said, it was kind of packed. It was fast. And it's a good thing there was three of us. So this was the first thing we did day two. So let me just jump this one. This is the actual schedule. Yeah. So there. Anyway, so let me just look at scheduling and just kind of break down what we have here. So it's just a spreadsheet, simple. We've got start time, duration, how long we're in a certain section, what script order that is, who the speaker is going to be. We have the section of the script, so we know what that is rather than just section 15. What is that? It's B-roll of the nurse's station. And then we have the location. And then we have the actors, whoever's in that. We have any notes for that. And then we have like sunrise, sunset noted, so we know what's happening on a given day. And so you can see the first day was a 10.25 hour day. And then day two was a 9.5 hour day. So you can see that. And then this is like just everything in script order. It's ridiculous as I do that. But so here we know, like, okay, these sections take this long. It happens here. This is what happens. So this is so we can just keep things straight, not a schedule, in order. So all the blocks, so we had 18 blocks of what needed to happen in script order. There. So anyway, we have all that. So if we walk through this, you can see we've got like, for interviews, we have 60 minutes in and out. Set up, shoot it, get out. Interviews. We had 90 minutes for this one because she had a lot more sections. Interview with Donna. We had 60 minutes for this one. In and out. This was the CEO. And we only get 30 minutes with her. So we had to do everything else. And this are like, okay, make sure we get all these B-roll segments. So this is all the B-roll segment in this room. So it's like we go to this room, we do the interview, then we do the B-roll, then we leave the room, go to the next room, do the interview. Or in this case, it was the same room. This was going to be the antepartum room, but we changed it, decided to do it in triage, and we just went whoosh, and flipped the world a little bit and did that and just stayed in the triage room for that, which worked out because then we didn't have to roll down the hall to another room to set everything up because we were tight on time, and we said, you know what, it's fine. So we made that switch. Did the fourth floor lobby. Then we had the B-roll there with Chanel, our mom. And then we did lunch break. Always, always, always plan a 60-minute lunch break. Never plan a 30-minute lunch break because you will need that time. Happens every shoot, every time. I'm like, nope, we plan a 60-minute lunch because it's 30 minutes of buffer and 30 minutes of lunch. On the rare cases you actually get a 60-minute lunch, no one's going to complain. And you're just the hero for planning 60 minutes for lunch. Because worst case, they're going to take a 30-minute lunch and go check some emails for 30 minutes and get some work done in the middle of the shoot day. And they're going to be excited about that. So like everyone's a winner if you plan a 60-minute lunch. Of course, lunch was at 10:45, which was a little gross because we were starting at 6 a.m. this day. So anyway, then we come back, we do interview, B-roll. We have 75 minutes for this one because we had to come into a new space, set it up, do everything, boom. And then we have B-roll happening there in that room in the NICU. And this was, again, a spot we had not seen before. We didn't know what we were going to deal with. So we planned a little extra time, 60 minutes extra time, whatever. Relatively extra time for B-roll here. 15 minutes of B-roll at the nurse's station, 30 minutes in the antepartum room. And here we know we had some actors to work with. So again, this is a breakneck schedule, right? And probably a lot of us in video production have schedules that we feel like are like, gosh, could we have an extra 5 minutes? It just kind of is what it is. And it's like we're working a 10-hour day, breakneck, just go, 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 which is why everything we can do to plan ahead, everything we can do to make it go faster, every little gain is great. We know we're going to exterior, we're going down to the ground for this, so we got to plan for that. We have the gimbal, the battery, the lights, the reflectors. We need to take those downstairs and do all that. We have exterior hospital shots. Great, we're doing the drone. The drone connects the BFR to the hospital. Like this is the other building. Wrap and load out. 30 minutes for load in. My crew is always like, can we have longer for load in and load out? And I'm like, no. Actually, we are starting to plan more time for that now. But it's like, it takes time. And the client's just like, what are we? It's like, we've got gear. We've got to get it out. We got to get it ready. Like, we can't just, like we're always explaining to our clients, we're not just a guy with a phone being like, all right, I'm ready. Like, that's not how it goes. I mean, we could do a whole rant here about production and why it takes time to do this and why we need to tell our clients we need time for lights, we need time for sound, we need time for camera, we need time, not this. Or actually, it's not, let me just walk around with my phone and film this thing, because if I was, why are you paying all this money? Anyways. Day 2. Sunrise 7:04, sunset 5:11. And obviously, we know these times impact things. Like, obviously, we're doing inside stuff here where the times don't matter, you know, with the sun and same deal. You get it. We're loading in. So first we go to one location, which is different physical address. It's load in, it's do the interview, it's do the B-roll, it's load out, and load into the new location in 15 minutes. And then we had 75 minutes because I knew somewhere we had to get some setup time, somewhere we need some extra time to get in and get, because to load all of our gear out, down into the car, drive over, out of the car, up to, like, it's a lot. So, like I said, we just go, 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 go on these days. And then we had our B-roll. And then we had, again, our 60-minute lunch break. And then had more stuff happening here. And again, like, we have people's names in here because people have to know what days do I have to be here? What time slots do I have to be here? And here we're like, not on camera. So it's like, we're using your script, but we're not going to see you, so you don't have to be here. And then, you know, this one and this one. Wrap and taillights and load out and all that stuff. So anyway, and then here's kind of how that all happens and breaks down into everything. So that is important, although boring. Because if no one does that kind of planning, then we're all just running around with chickens with our heads cut off. And again, that's why all these diagrams matter. Because if we know when we come into the postpartum room, you know, we're going to do it like this. We know, meaning everyone on the team knows. Okay, kill the house lights. Softbox goes here. Camera goes here. Bounce goes here. Tube light goes here. Camera goes, like, B-cam goes here. And so when we roll into whatever situation this might be, we know roughly what we're going to do. And it's not, everyone's not asking me or anyone else, hey, Josh, where do we want this? Hey, where do we want that? Like it's been figured out, which is really nice. So there's that. Okay, script. This is a script and bullet points of things that need to be seen. This was basically written by the client and modified by us. I think that kind of covers. I mean, there's a little bit more 360 stuff. Let's see here. Oh yeah, we had to do this setup. Okay, so you see right here, we're setting the scene, right? Putting these things behind her, making sure that the scene is nice. Because when we walked in, great. So car seat, we need flowers. Oh, we can't see the car seat. Put it there, angle it this way. Do all these things. And then break this down. Do and then, oh yeah, we had all our B-roll. Here's all our gear hanging out by itself in the room while we go to lunch. Parts and tripods and stuff everywhere. I don't know how often you get to make that much of a mess of a hospital bed room. Here's our gear safely. Make sure steal my stuff. Hey, oh, it's me. And then we've got another interview set up here. So we're placing all of our lights, figuring that stuff out, how we want to put things, placing things in the scene, making sure we like how everything looks. There's a monitor out in the hallway that the client's looking at while we're in here doing all this. Scene looks the way they want it to look, and then sit there and we direct people for the interview, help them read the teleprompter, all those other parts of the video. Funny thing on this project, I don't have headphones. Well, this is day 2, but day 1, I didn't have headphones because I forgot them because I didn't write them on my packing list and I didn't bring headphones. So we actually did a whole day of interviews blind and just trusting that we had it. We were using the Rode Pros and then into the camera. So I'm like, if nothing else, the Rode Pro recorders are going to be pristine. It's 32-bit. Like we know if it's recording, basically we're good. But it was a little scary not being able to monitor and know, like, are we having clothes rustling noises? Are we having whatever happening? Wow, we're just got everything hanging out in this room. That's a really cool way to end our video. Yeah, and then we come in the room and start packing gear up. So, I mean, really, that's basically it. So, let me just audio on wall play in the background. So, on a project like this, 2-day shoot, we had all the interviews, all the B-roll, and we were kind of running full speed the entire time with 3 of us. I feel like we were able to get a good product in the end, which is important. Would we have done some things differently? Yeah, but ultimately, it was all good on you guys. So, graphics got, all these different pieces of like, okay, lighting and how do we, fit all these elements together so that it feels like a cohesive video. So yeah, you can see things we're talking about, the elevator shots, and here's the walking, and the Augie's, over here with the 60D, just making sure there's just that right light on her as she's walking. That way it has the right feel to it. She's actually got a fake belly. We got a fake belly in there. They had one of those, again, client communication, right? So I'm like, do you have a pregnant woman to do the pregnant woman parts? No, we have a nurse, but we have a fake belly. Oh, fantastic. Great. In my mind, I'm thinking like a legit fake belly. We show up and I see the fake belly and it's like basically a pillow, stuffed, and it's lumpy. It's lumpy and weird looking. And I'm just like, how are we going to do that? And so we smoothed it out and whatever. And we're like, okay, we're going to shoot it from the back and we're not going to be. So like, you're like really carefully paying attention. You're like, something about that belly is a little lumpy, as it was. Anyway, so we have all these, different scenes that we have with process, that they go through to be here and do all this stuff. Um, on this video, we also, I don't have any behind the scenes behind the thing, but we also went into Resolve and did some enhancements on some people, helping with wrinkles and blemishes and makeup or lack thereof for some people and things, just to kind of help make sure everyone looked their best. Not that I would really want to show that to you anyway, because I want to say who we did what to. But we did do some touch-ups, some digital touch-ups for this video, which were very helpful because some of the interviews I thought could have looked a little better. And obviously, we're always growing as cinematographers, as video people doing this, and we're always going to look at a project and be like, "That was great, but I could do it better if I did it again." And I'm like, just what we've learned in lighting from this project we did this January to 6 months later, now July, I'm like, I would do it different and it would look better. Which is funny. I'm like, is it good? Yes. I'm like, this is only 6 months old. And I'm like, we would do it better if we did it again. But it looks good. Client was happy. We're happy. And it does look good. So it's not like we did a bad job, but I would just do some things different, some things better, knowing that. So one thing we did learn on this, I think it was this shoot. We had a couple we had so many shoots in January. But I think it was this shoot. We realized how different the white balance on the FX6, the FX30, the FX3 are. The FX30 and the FX3 like just pair together perfectly. Like if you put them both at the same Kelvin or put them both in auto, like they just track with each other. Like they're just in sync. But the FX6 is its own beast. And so we had some color finesse work to do because it just didn't match up quite right. I think we even left it in auto white balance for some of the interviews by accident, just because we were running so fast. Anyway, that sign's fake. They had to make that sign. Did a good job. And you always have to like learn different people too, and posture and things as you're filming these interviews, because everyone approaches things differently, and you want to make sure that you're shaping and sculpting, the lighting, the camera, the lensing, so that it's flattering for everyone. And sometimes people do things that are not coachable. We had one girl who kind of like, it was fine, and then she would like tilt her head back when she started talking, and it was just like this unconscious thing. And we couldn't overcome that, and so what we had to end up doing was just saying, okay, we need to bring the camera higher and tilt down more so that it doesn't look like we're looking up her nose when we do a normal angle, and so we adjust to the people and make it work. Also, when she went back, the backlight would like come like way up onto like her forehead and stuff, so we had to like dial up our dial in our backlight different. Like we had to change things on our end to make sure that our on-camera talent looked good. Because like at the end of the day, that's our job, right? Especially if we're not working with paid actors. You have to make sure that whatever you're doing looks good. I think this was probably my favorite looking interview out of all of them. It had the best overall feel. You can see nicely out the window. The dynamic range looks good. Actually, the more I look at that, wish the shadows, there was more contrast. Shadows were a little. Now I'm over here looking at my own lighting. Like, okay, that's a nice shadow ratio. Yeah, we could use a little more shape on her. Shadow. There. I could use a touch. I mean, really, that's one of the things. Is I do a lot more shadow in my lighting now. A little more dramatic of a look. Which, I mean, ultimately, that wasn't what this piece was going for, but I think I would have darkened up the shadow side a little bit. So, yeah, and then B-roll and websites and all the. So anyway, these little sequences where they flash everyone together really fast are fun because you get to see how good and consistent you were because they all come back to back to back. You're like, ooh, okay, like, ooh, yeah, maybe done that a little differently. Had not differently so much, but like it's different. I would have done it differently. I would have done it different than the way I did it on this one. That's what I'm saying. Not that it was a mistake, but just that it could have been better, right? It can always be better. But when you've got, I mean, this is like an 8-minute video, and you've got to cram all of this stuff into 2 days of filming all these interviews, and these interviews are for the most part unscripted on this project. Because, okay, we're just going into lessons learned for a second. Teleprompters. Please use the teleprompter. Josh, teacher Josh, please use the teleprompter. I told the client, hey, we should use the teleprompter. And then they were like, we don't really want to do the teleprompter. I was like, you know what? That's fine. We'll just go without a teleprompter. And we should have used the teleprompter. What ended up happening was day one, we had bullet points, and everyone had their bullet points, but they didn't have word-for-word scripts. And so we ended up doing the whole, like, say this point, but try it this way and try it this. And so you're spending all this time in your interview block trying to help people say things smartly, right? And so, you know, with good phraseology and in a concise way and without the like weird intonations, because they're trying to think of the words they're saying and all these things that happen in a real interview with real people who are not trained actors and are not used to speaking in front of people all the time. So by the end of the first day, we started moving to more like, well, what do you want to say? Okay, let's kind of write that for you and like put it here. And day two, everyone was like, okay, well, the word got out and everyone's like, okay, here's my script. Like I wrote it out. And so day two, the interviews went smoother because we did use the actual teleprompter for the majority of it. And that was a good lesson learned where I realized that was a thing where I should have pushed back on the client and said, I know you don't want to use the teleprompter, but it's really going to make your video better. And so this was one of the projects where we just kind of saw firsthand, especially because we had the 2 days with the 2 different sets of experiences. Like it was just night and day, like, okay, it's way better with the teleprompter. Even if you have to work with someone overcoming being able to read and not being like line scanning, like there's things you have to overcome also with a teleprompter. Like there's no perfect solution, but overall the result was better with the teleprompter. And when we did day 2, we did teleprompter, I think, on everybody, and it was just smoother. You can spend your time finessing performance instead of spend your time being like, what should we say here? So all in all, teleprompter is fantastic. Push all your clients to use that. If you don't have a teleprompter, then rent one or buy one. They're cheap and they're great tools. So that's a good takeaway. Okay. I have yammered on for a long time, and I think that brings this episode to a close. It's a long one, but that's kind of the idea, is to kind of dive deep into a project. As far as with the project breakthrough ones, like let's dive into a project, understand what we did, how we did it, and hopefully that's helpful and of value to you as you are, doing your own projects. Whether you're at my level, above my level, below my level, like, we're all in different stages in our journey as video production companies, and sometimes you'll see something that someone who you would consider below your level does, and you're like, I never thought of doing it that way. And I can take and then you elevate it and do your own version of it. And you're like, that was great. But the seed of the idea came from something you saw. So I'm always watching videos, always learning. Anyways, I'm always trying to get better at this, right? And so I'm always trying to learn, always looking for little things, big things, how can we get better? And so by watching content like this, I feel like I'm getting better, and I hope that you feel like you're getting better. I hope that was helpful for you. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, if it was too long, if it was too short, if it was too detailed, if it was not detailed enough, if you want to see more on a certain topic. I'm going to start doing project breakdowns like this, looking through projects, pre-production documents, behind the scenes, final images, all that stuff, so that we can all learn together and continue to elevate our craft and make more money and charge our clients more and feed our families better and all that good stuff, and keep doing this work that we enjoy doing because it's fun. And I'm done now. So bye. Actually, I'm not done. First, like, subscribe, comment, all those things that YouTube wants you to do. Also, one more thing. We are going to be doing this every week. So every week I'm going to put out an episode, whether it's me talking, whether it's me and Mike chatting about a project, whether it is me chatting with another video production business owner. We're going to put out content we are going to put out a content every week. So if you like a content, then you will like this, because content is king. Story is king. That's why we're called StoryKing Studios, because story is king. Not because I'm the Story King, but because story is king. So that's why it's StoryKing Studios. Factoid for the day. Bye. And one more thing, I just actually want to come back on and say one more thing. There's not actually anything else, so I don't know why you're still listening. Bye.